Hello everyone, good morning. Can anyone please confirm am I audible or not? Yeah. Okay then. Last class where we stopped. Last class we discussed about life cycle methods. Okay, that methods take how many arguments while calling by React. The React people provides. The React people call that method by passing how many arguments we discussing or not. Okay, that is in the middle. So, can anyone tell my constructor? Why we go for constructor? Okay, in React component, I'm asking why we go for constructor. Okay, which type of operations, which type of statements we are going to write in the constructor means if you have any work with my current object is at first time load, then you can override the constructor. If you don't have any work with my this, okay, with my current object this, okay, don't do that one. Don't override that constructor. Why we need to write that code? Okay, if you write the constructor, 3 lines of code, you have to write constructor, swapper, and closing and opening. Okay, then why we need that? If you have worked with my current object this, then you can go with the constructor when at the time of first time load. Okay, my constructor, two types of constructors. One is like default constructor like that, another one is like parameterized constructor. Can anyone tell default constructor when you go for that, when you go for parameterized constructor? My default constructor when you go for this means if you don't have, okay, if you're not having any work with props inside the constructor, if you're not having any work, I don't want to display the props in the constructor, I don't want to use the props inside the constructor. Okay, if you not having any work with the props inside the constructor, then you can go with the default constructor. But if you have some work, okay, if you have some work with the props inside the constructor, then you should have to get the props inside the constructor or not. How you can get it? My constructor, okay, we can take like a parameterized constructor. That parameterized constructor is called by React by passing your props as an argument or not. Props as an argument or not. Okay, up to you. Okay, done. The next one. If you want to make these props are available to my React.component, how you can make it available? Can anyone tell? Okay, this one. Yes, these props you can use overall your constructor. Overall your constructor. One second. Yeah. Okay then. Here the constructor props when you can take, if you have some work with the props inside the constructor, yes, you can pass as an argument. But these props, I want to make it available to my this dot props variable. I want to make it available like I want to assign, I want to initialize, okay, to my this dot props variable. Then how we can means at the time of calling your superclass constructor, so far you are calling without any arguments. Can you pass your props as an argument now? Okay, then the time my superclass constructor is going to call with this props value, and he assigned your props value to my variable like what, like this or not. Already yesterday we saw this code. Yesterday we discussed. Yes or no? So finally my constructor with arguments, without arguments we discussed. The next one. What is the next one? After constructor with lifecycle method. Can anyone guess? Can anyone guess? Get derived state from props. Get derived state from props. Perfect. This is which type of method? Can anyone tell something about this method? Get derived state from props. Can anyone tell something about this method? Okay, it's a static method. Perfect. It's a static method. Okay, it's a static method. Okay, now next thing. When you go with this method, if you override this method is nothing but, okay, this method we are going to use for perform some operation on the state variables or not. Otherwise, it gives me some warning so that, okay, just write one state variable. Then the time one warning gone. Okay, my name equals to such a perfect. Okay, the next one. The next warning is what? My get derived state from props always should return what? Some value. Okay, if you don't know what you want me to return, simply you can return null. That's it. Okay, next. My get derived state from props take how many arguments? Yes, 2 arguments. One is like props, another one is like state or not. Another one is like state. My requirement is very simple here. This is my state variable name Sachin. I want to update this state variable to Dhoni inside my get derived state from prop. That is my requirement. My requirement is like that. Inside my get derived state from prop, I want to update my state values. Then how we can generally, how you want me to update the state value? How you want me to update one state variable? By using which method? Set state is the method. So that this dot set state. Okay, how we can update? My name should turn to be what? Kohli or not? Name should turn to be Kohli. Now, is it the valid statement? Yes, syntactically it's a valid, but it is not the right place to use this statement. Why? Because my get derived state from props is like which context? Static context. Inside the static context, my instance members will never use. We are not able to use the instance members inside my static context. Okay, my static members you can use in the instance members, instance methods or whatever it is, instance context. But my instance members we are not able to use in the static context. So here my this dot set state, my this is not available, so that my set state is going to call. We are calling them undefined, so that it gives me the error like what? Set state. Okay, I cannot read the property set state of undefined like that. Okay, so this particular statement is not work in this place. But our requirement is what? My requirement is not changed. My requirement is what? I should have to update my state value. What's my state value? My state value name should turn to be what? Should turn to be Dhoni. This is my requirement. My requirement never changed. So how we can update the state value in this particular context? That is the question. Okay, you said like this also. Here this is my state, right? Okay, my state dot name equals to okay Dhoni. Yes, this is the valid. But the thing is, if you update the state like this, is it my re-rendering is happening? Is my re-rendering is happening or not? If any state changes or happened, okay, my re-render should be there or not. If the re-render is not happened, then the time the re-render is not happened, the new changes are not updated in the browser or not. Okay, don't update the state variable like a JSON object. Okay, it's a valid statement, but it's not recommended. Why? Because okay, any state value change, my render method should call automatically or not. This is not happened. Okay, perfect. Next. My requirement is that one only, so that these people said like, hey, you should have to update one of the state variable. Okay, here anyway you are not able to use my this dot state. Why? Because it's a static context. So that do one thing. I already told you, right? My get derived state from prop returns some value. What he asked me to return, you know, which value you want me to update. This is the state value you want me to update or not. That state value you can return from here. Okay, if you return some value, then that time I can think like, yes, this is the value I have to update within the state variable. Within the state, I have to update these values. So I can work with some other person. I asked him to update the value here. Understand or not? So now onwards, if you want to update the state variable inside this particular get derived state from prop, how we can update? Just return that updated value. See here, my this dot set state. Okay, this is only right, my updated data. Okay, one object, this object only, right? We are going to update within the state variable. Okay, that object contains any number of properties based on your requirement, but this is an object. So now onwards, just return that object here instead of null. Now, once you return this one, my get derived state from props think like what? Yes, this is the value I have to update within the state. So that this guy is going to connect with some other person, whatever it is. This guy is able to do, he can do it. Otherwise, he is going to call another person. Okay, that person is going to update here and it's going to call your render method or not. Yes or no? He is going to call the render method or not. Yes, we can add a new variable, no problem at all. Here, if you put like my location Mumbai, yes, we can add it. Then the time my state contains how many variables? Okay, 2 variables or not. Okay, just we are going to update. If already key is there, my operation is like what? Update operation. If the key is not there, my operation is like what? Insert operation or not. Yes, we can do it. Okay, but the recommended thing is any state variable you are trying to use, first of all, just mention that state variable with default value. Location equals to empty. Like that. It's recommended way. Okay. about the get derived state from prop? Yes or no? Okay, then perfect. Now here I'm going to return some null only. My requirement is get derived state from prop contains some statements. My statement is like I want to print this name in the console. That's my requirement. You can write any number of statements, right? I want to print that Sachin in the console. How we can print it? Can anyone guess? Do you want me to print like this? My console dot log of this dot state dot name. Do you want me to write like this? Do you want me to write like this? No. Why? Because my this is not available. It's a static context. But this is like instance number. So how we can get it? Already those people provide you the second argument is like state only, right? So how we can state dot name? That's it. If you have some work with props, then how we can? My console dot log out. Do you want me to do like this? Dot props dot name like this? Like this, do you want me to? No. Again, you are using this. This is my instance number. So that how you can go ahead. Okay, simply you can use my first argument. Here the arguments you can put anything, no problem at all. But based on your requirement, whatever the values it's going to hold, give the proper name. Okay, if you write like A, okay, here B it's state. Here the first one is like prop or not. Like this you can do it. Up here understand? So for good, how my get derived state from prop is going to work. Okay, we'll see some scenario in future, but for now, okay, how many arguments is going to take, when it is going to execute, okay, how you can avoid these warnings and everything, when exactly we are going to go with the get derived state from prop, whenever the state value is there, okay, then only we can go with the get derived state from prop, otherwise it gives me a warning. Perfect. The next method, what is the next method? Can anyone? Mounting phase. Okay, get derived state from prop. Start this one, take common arguments. 2 arguments or not? Yes. Next. Now see here, my this dot set state. Okay, I don't want this. I don't want this. Okay. First run it. First run it. Okay. My prop value is like what? My name Sachin. My state value is like what? Location Mumbai. Location Mumbai. First run it. So click on this. Open the Relay server. Now, come on. Yes, Sachin Mumbai. My Sachin is what? Here, my Sachin is like a prop. Okay, this one is what? It's a state. Now I want to update the state value. Okay, how we can update? Okay, my Sachin, my location should be Ranchi, for example. Okay, how we can update? Right, one object. Which property you want me to update? Location, what? Ranchi or not? Ranchi. So can you come here? Can I refresh my page? Yes, it's updated or not? You created your location with Mumbai. Okay, after that you changed that particular location to Ranchi or not. That means you updated your state variable or not. Agreed? Yes or no? Okay, okay then, perfect. Now the next method. Which method is going to call? Constructor done, get derived state from prop call done. The next one, which method is going to call? Render method. Render method. Tell me. Render method take how many arguments? Render method take how many arguments? Okay, if you don't know, then that is simply how we can proceed. Simple. Put the debugger. Put the debugger. Here you can write like A, B, C, D. Like this you can write it. Okay, now come here, inspect it. Inspect it. Now refresh my page. Refresh my page. Now see this, my render method called or not? What is my render method? First argument, yeah, undefined, 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 undefined. Is nothing but not passed any values. That means while calling this render method, my reactive will not pass any values, so that the values are like what? Undefined. So my render method finally take common arguments. You can conclude like 0 arguments or not. My render method called with 0 arguments. Yes or no? Understand or not? So they're okay. Okay, somebody asked this question. Can anyone answer this? Yeah. How a static get derived state from prop method identify the variable? if I have a global and local same variable. Okay, global and local the same variable. See, you are the developer, right? You are the developer. You know which variable has to update. For example, I have one method is there f1. Okay, now f1 and constructor is like different method only, right? How this f1 knows about your state? How this f1 knows about your state? That they don't know, right? Okay, you know which state variable has to update. Which state variable has to update. Okay, how a static get derivative state from props method identified the variable. If I have a global and my local is like a same variable, so you are asking like this one. Here local variable and global variable, how we can write local variable? Always you can write like this one, like var or let or constant. Okay, this is your local variable, right? This is your local variable. Okay, and this is like completely different, right? Okay, if you want this location, yeah, let LOC is like SS. Now state.loc is like what? Mumbai. State.loc is like Mumbai. Okay, there has some differences there or not? Directly it's a local variable. LOC is my variable name. But if here also LOC is there, then the time how we can get this LOC? We are not directly taking like LOC like this, right? We are taking like what? State.loc. Like this we can differentiate. If it is like local variable and my state variable both are same, there's no problem at all. Yes or no? Okay. Okay then. But under method. Okay. Now see, and one more thing. If you want to share this data to another component, how we can share it? Can anyone guess? Okay. For example, the state value is there. If you want to share this data to another component, how we can share it? Okay. With props only, right? Communication between components. There has one concept is there. Otherwise, we can do one thing. My state, we can conclude one statement about the state. My state is always local to my component or not. Local to my component. My state is always works at the component level only. By default, this data is not shared to some other component or not. Each and every component has their own state. Okay, so my state is always like local to my component or not. From here, if you want to pass some data to another component, communication between components, you know, right? Parent to child, you know, child to parent, you know, like this you can pass it. At the same time, total application, if you want to make it available, this data, then how we can? Then you can go with Redux, state management at application level. Got it or not? Okay, state variables always works at component level. This is local to my component, that's it. Okay, by default this data is not shared to some other component. Each and every component has their own current object, own state, own props, all are like own object. Simply you can say like own this. Okay, this is like here my this is pointing to what? Yeah, another component is there, my this is pointing to that component, so that both are like different component, different objects or not. Different objects in nothing but different variables, different methods also there or not. Okay, that's the thing. Next, component did mount. Okay, come on, take common argument. Can anyone guess? Okay, if you don't know, no problem at all. Just you can put like a comma b comma c. Can I put the debugger? Yes. Now, can I refresh my page? Okay, now it's coming here. Again, see this A, B, C. Okay, all are like undefined or not. So my component did mount, which take common arguments, 0 argument or not. Up to agreed. 0 argument or not. Okay, perfect. Hey, you can ask one question. In component did mount, which type of code we can write? Recommended code, tell me. When you can exactly go with the component did mount. Can anyone? When you can go with the component did mount. Okay. I will tell one scenario. Let me open Paint. Okay. Perfect. Okay, this is your page here. This is your web page. Okay, here there has multiple lines of code is there. The total lines of code, how much? 5,000 lines of code. Okay, how many lines of code? 5,000 lines of code. It's like a static content. Okay, just divs are there. Okay, images are there. All are like static content. 5,000 lines of code is there. And then here I have one table. Here I have one table. Simply, I have one table. Inside the table, I have some data. Inside the table, I have some data. Again, here 5000 lines of code is there. Again, here 5000 lines of code. Which type of code? It's a static content only. But this table is there, right? This table, I am fetching the data. For this table, I am fetching the data. My data inside the table, whatever the data you are going to display inside the table, the table data is inside the database. That's the requirement. It might be serious. I have one page. Inside the base, 5000 lines of code is there. Okay, that is like static content. And then one table is there. The table data, which is coming from database. Okay, after that, 5000 lines of code is there. Total 10,000 lines of code plus your table code. Okay, that many lines of code is going to render inside the page or not. Agreed? Okay, then, perfect. Now, tell me. This table data inside the database. So that how we can get the data from the database? Can anyone guess? I'm not asking about the code simply. Simply I'm asking how I can get the data from the database. First of all, this part where it is running, 5000 lines of code, table, all these things, where it is going to run. Can anyone guess? Where it is going to run? Inside the browser. Simply. Okay, inside the browser, which type of technology is going to run? Okay, my client side technologies, right? Okay, here in our case, which technology we are using? React. In our case, we are using React. Perfect. Okay, so my client side technology is directly connected with the database. Is it possible? Is it directly connected with the database to get this particular data from the DB? To get the data from the DB? Is my client side technology directly connected with the database? No, it's not able to connect with the database. So that here, let's take one more person help. Who is that guy, you know? Okay, that guy name is like a middleware. That is a server side guy. Okay, server side guy. Okay, technology is like Java is there, .NET is there, PHP is there, Node is there, Python is there, Salesforce is there, like this. In our case, we are going to discuss like a Node for now. Okay, just leave it. Now, this guy is going to connect with the DB. Okay, now this database data is going to fetch and give this data to my component or not. Okay, once you get this data inside my component is going to render this data inside the table or not. So my client is going to connect with the server. We can say like what? Request. My server is going to give the data back to my client is called as what? Response. This request and response we are going to handle by using what? Which concept? Request and responses we are handling by using what? Ajax. Request and response we are going to handle with what? By using Ajax or not. Agreed? So for good? Okay then. Now tell me your server and database where it is going to run. First, that is my question. This server and database where it is going to run. Is it running in your local machine? Okay, for example, Gmail is there. Okay, you are going to authenticate your username and password. You open your browser, you enter username and password. That is in your browser. Is your database in your browser? No, right? Is it in your machine? No. That is running, my server and my database is running out of your machine or not. So that my browser through internet, it is going to connect with the server out of my machine or not. So it has to travel. My request has to travel somewhere or not. Agreed? My request has to travel somewhere or not. Okay, and get the response. How much time it will take? Is it taking like, okay, within a fraction of milliseconds you can get the response? No, it may take some time. Okay, so that, for example, think it's take like 5 minutes time. It should not take like this, okay, just like that. 5 minutes time it's taking. 5 minutes time it's taking. Okay then, perfect. Now, this Ajax call to complete, okay, to complete this Ajax call, that is request and response, to get that response, how much time it will take? 5 minutes time it's going to take. So my question is, inside the component, this code where you want me to write, that is my question, that's it. This Ajax code where you want me to write, which place is the recommended place, that's it. Can anyone guess? Which place is the recommended one? Okay, at first time load only, I want to display 5000 lines of code, static code, and then this one is like a table, and then this one is like, okay, another static 5000 lines of code. Inside this, okay, inside the client only Ajax has to write inside the client side, okay, inside the component also I'm telling, inside the component, which place is the right place to write this code at the time of loading. Okay, first tell me, at the time of loading, how many methods are going to execute to write your code? At the time of loading, how many methods are going to execute inside the component? How many methods? Come on. My constructor. Okay, next. Get derived state from prop. Get derived state from prop. The next. Render. Next. component, did mount. These 4 methods are going to execute or not. Within the 4 methods, where you want me to write this Ajax code, that's it. That one you can say. That's enough for me. Yes, you said like somebody tell like constructor. Okay, I can write the constructor. Yes, you can write it, no problem at all. You can write inside the constructor. Okay, here I written the code. Here I written the code. See here, if I write this Ajax code to complete this constructor execution, how much time it will take? Can anyone guess? How much time it will take? How much time it will take to complete your constructor execution? Ajax code, how much time it take? 5 minutes time or not? That means once my construct execution is completed, then only it comes to my get derivative statement prop, then only render method. So my render method contains how many lines of code? Tell me. My render method contains how many lines of code? 5,000 plus 5,000, 10,000 plus your DB data. Okay, 10,000 plus your data, table data or not? Table data or not? So to call your render method, if you write your code inside the constructor, okay, my execution, that means my render method execution, when it's going to start? After 5 minutes only or not? Why? Because you written that Ajax code inside the constructor. To complete the constructor execution, it's take like 5 minutes. After that only it's going to call get derivative statement prop. After that only it comes to render method or not. So that to execute this render method, how much time it will take? 5 minutes time or not? Agreed? Agreed with that statement? If you write this Ajax code inside the constructor, how much time it will take? 5 minutes time. After 5 minutes only you get the response and then it's come here. Okay, that means within the 5 minutes, my inside my browser, what is visible to the end user? What is visible to the end user? My render method not yet completed. My render method has data. It's showing like what? Loading, one load or loader. If you want to put, you can put it. 5 minutes time, it is going to loading or not? Loader is going to be visible to the end user or not? Okay, then it is going to make sense like 5 minutes are going to wait. This 10,000 lines of code and the table data, everything is depending upon your database, then that time it's okay, fine. But this 10,000 lines of code is not depending upon your database, right? Then why you need to wait? Why you need to make it like wait? You should not make them wait or not. Those are like a static content. Let them load. Let them load first. 10,000 lines of code. Okay, there is no dependency, nothing is there. Then that time, why you need to wait? Make them wait. You should not or not. So, is it the right place? My constructor. My constructor should not. Yes or no? Agreed? Okay. And then get derivative state from prop. Get derivative state from prop. Okay. Here, if I write the code here, what is wrong with this? Okay, same issue, right? Same issue, right? Okay. At the same time, same issue. Not only same issue. My get derivative state from prop. How many times it is going to execute? First time load is going to execute. For every state change also it is going to execute, right? I said like only first time. I said like only first time. Then the time, do you want me to write this code? For every state change also you want me to execute, send the request and get the response. Why you need it? Agreed or not? My get derivative state from prop not only execute only one time. How many times? First time load is going to execute. For every state change also it is going to execute or not? Agreed? Okay, perfect. Now, render method. Do you want me to write the code in the render method? Yes, you can write it. It's a method. You can write it. But my render method also, how many times it's going to execute? First time load it is going to execute. For every state or prop change also again it's going to execute or not. So that here also it's not a recommended place and here also it's not a recommended place or not. So that don't write the code. Finally, where is that? Which method is there? Component mount or not? So here you can write the Ajax code. Okay, Ajax code. If you write the Ajax code here, see here. Inside the render method, how many lines of code is there? 10,000 lines of code. Okay, first of all, this 10,000 lines of code is going to render and this 10,000 lines of code is going to render. What about the table? My table has to wait, right? So what I'm doing is very simple thing. First of all, I create one state variable, my table data, what? Empty array. Empty array. Okay, my table data contains what? No data, nothing. It's an empty array. So that it's an empty array. Up here, okay. Now, my 5,000 lines of code is going to execute. Okay, my data is like an empty, so that there is no data, nothing. Okay, first time, at the time of rendering your render method content, my data is like an empty, and then 5,000 lines of code is going to execute it. Now, my component did mount. Okay, after the render method, my component did mount is going to execute, right? Now, already at this point of time, 5,000 lines of static code is going to render, and this one also rendered. Now, one request go to the server. After 5 minutes, once you get the response, can you update your data? Can you update your data with this particular Ajax call? Yes or no? Once you update this data, state data is a state variable data. Again, my render method is going to call, right? Okay, again, my render method is going to call is nothing but 5,000 lines of code. This 5,000 lines of code is going to re-render again. No, why? Because there is one concept is that virtual DOM. Yes or no? There is one concept is that one second. Yeah, I'm back. See here. My render at the time of first time load, my render method is going to execute like nothing but 5,000 lines of code, 5,000 lines of code with zero data. That means there is no data, nothing. There is no data, nothing will execute. After that, my component mode is going to execute. Here you send one request to the server and get the response when? After 5 minutes. Once you get the response after 5 minutes, what you have to do? That response you have to update here or not. First time my data is like empty rows. Okay, now you are going to update with your data. Once you do the state change, once you do this one, if you made any state changes, again my render method is going to call, right? If my render method is going to call again, then the time again 5,000 lines of code. This time my data is empty or data. Having some data, my data is not empty. Having some data, okay. Having some data is nothing but 10 lines of code is there. For example, 10 lines of users, 10 TRs are there, 10 users are there. So that you are going to render 10 TRs. After that, 5,000 lines of code is going to execute. But here 5,000 lines of code, here 5,000 lines of code execute when, okay, 2 times it's going to execute. First time is going to execute, at the same time the next state change also is going to execute. But really it's going to render it in the browser, re-render it in the browser. No, by using virtual DOM concept, they handle that one or not. Agreed? So if you want to send any Ajax request, is nothing but if you want to connect with the DB and get the data from the DB, that type of operations you can write in the component did mode at first time load if you want. That component did mode is the recommended place. Agreed? All are okay? Now onwards, at first time load, if you want to send a request to the server and get the response, Ajax related stuff, which place is the right place to handle? My component did mount is the right place or not? Okay, okay then, perfect. Yes, this is the flow, same for functional component also. Inside the functional component also, we are going to handle lifecycle methods by using what? Hooks. At the time of hooks discussion, I will tell. Okay, perfect. Now, can you go to the next level? Next phase, updating phase. Come on, let's do that. Updating phase. Okay, here. How many methods already you know? In the updating phase is unmounting, right? In the updating phase, how many methods you already know? I already know get there state from prop. How many arguments? Okay, total 5 methods. Already you know about the arguments of 2 methods, right? One is like get there state from prop takes like 2 arguments. One is like props, and another one is like what? State. Okay, if you want to do some updations in the state variable, just you can return that object here. Return that object here. Perfect. The next one. Next one. Can anyone guess? The next one is like a render method. Render method. Where is my render method? Render method. Which take common arguments. Which take 0 arguments. Yes. Which take like 0 arguments or not? 0 arguments. Okay. The next one. Should component update. Should component update. The next method is this one only or not? Okay. How many 5 methods, right? Updating phase. What are those? Get derived state from props. Next. Should component update. Next. Okay, if it is like returns true, then it's like render. Next, get snapshot before update. Next, get snapshot before update. Component did update. These are the methods or not? If it is like false, okay, no problem at all. Get derived state from prop. Should component update. That's it. Only 2 methods are going to execute. Okay. Okay then. Now the next goal is like my should component update method take how many arguments? That is the thing. Should component update method take like how many arguments? It's like 2 arguments. So that can I put like this? Can I put the debugger? Okay, what are those arguments can we take? Here, this is my app, right? My app has state is there. Can we write something like this? Some location equals moment. Just I want a prop value. That's it. I want to pass some prop data. So from here, this is the mounting one. Can we run this updating one? Open with live server. Yes. Okay. Now come here, inspect it. Now we are working with updating phase, so that mounting phase, what are the things are there, just remove it. Okay, at first time load, these are the things are going to execute. Okay, these are not required for me. Why? Because we are working with mounting, updating, not mounting. Okay, now come to my source. Come to my source. Now where is this? Should component update? Yes. If I click on the button, okay, if I click on the button, yes, my state variable is going to update or not? My state variable is going to update. Once my state variable updated, which method is going to trigger? First, get error state from prop is going to trigger. Yes. Okay, see here, again. See here, what is my state value here? Can anyone guess? First time my state value is like Sachin. Observe this one, observe this one. Okay, first time load, my state value is like what, Sachin? You are updated the state value like what, Dhoni or not. Now once my state value updated, which method is going to trigger? My get data state from prop is going to trigger. Now here my props are like what, location Mumbai, my state is like what, name Dhoni. It's like updated state or not? Agreed. In the past my value is like what, in the past my value like Sachin. My Sachin already updated. Now my updated value is like Dhoni or not. So that these are the updated state, next level state and prop or not. Okay, my Sachin already turned to be Dhoni. Those values you are getting. Okay, perfect. Now come to, once my get data state from prop is called, what is the next method? Can anyone guess? What is the next method? Come on first. What is the next method? My should component update or not? Should component update. Okay, so that my should component update method is going to trigger. Okay, here my A is like what? A is like location Mumbai. My B is like what? Name Dhoni or not? Updated data. So how many arguments is going to take my should component update? Can anyone guess? My should component update method take how many arguments? Come on, 2 arguments. What are those again? My props and my name Sachin. Okay, name Dhoni. State or not? Here the interesting thing is, inside the argument, okay, how many arguments? 2 arguments are there. Inside the arguments, my state value got updated. But here, my state value is like what? This dot state dot name. This is my state value or not? Can you check, is it updated or not? My this dot state. Okay, what is that? At this point of time, still my state is not updated or not? Agreed? I already told to you, set state method takes some time to update the data or not. It's an asynchronous one. Okay, it is going out of your flow. Agreed? Okay, but here you can get this updated data or not. You can get these updated state values and everything or not. So that here we can change that names like this. Should component update. Okay, next props. Okay, already updated. My state is here not updated, but this one get like updated state and updated prop values or not. So that we can give like any name. I can say X comma Y, you can put it, A comma B, you can put it, but naming convention purpose, you can give the names like this, next props and the next state. Why I said like next prop and next state means, here if I check my this dot state dot name is like still Sachin only, but the next level is what? Dhoni. Already Dhoni is there or not? So that you can put like next props and next state. The same value is also getting here or not? Now you got some idea. Okay, I already told you, you can put any names, X or Y, A comma B, anything you can put it, but naming convention purpose, just we are using this one. So can I change inside this also? Can I change inside this also? Yes or no? Okay, perfect. Now, once you get the should component update, if you have some work here inside with the should component update, yes, you can do it. Yes, you can do it. After that, you can change. Okay, you can return some value. Yes, see this. You can return some value. If the return is like false, then that means not go to my next level is like what? Render that snapshot before update, and the next one is what? Component did update. Okay, you can ask the question like, hey, which type of code I can write here inside my should component update? Which type of code you want me to write? Okay, can we see that one? Which type of code you want me to write? Okay, very simple here. See this. First time my value is like Sachin. This dot state equals to, okay, listen carefully. Name is like what? Sachin. After 5 seconds, okay, or button click. I updated my state is like this. Name is like Sachin. First time, what is my value? Sachin. What is my state variable value? What is my value? My name value Sachin. After button click also, you updated the name with what? Name with what? Sachin only. Sachin only. Then that time, my life cycle methods are going to triggered or not triggered first time. That's it. But previous value is like Sachin. The next value also Sachin only. Okay. Then that time, these values are going to triggered or not. These values are going to triggered or not. That is my question. Okay, here return true. Okay, this is the general one, right? Return true. Okay, can we check it? Can we check it? At the time of clicking on the button, the value should be what? Sachin only, not Dhoni. Sachin only. That's perfect. Okay. Now refresh my page. Yes. Refresh my page. Remove all the breakpoints. Okay. Now go to my console. First time load. It's okay. Fine. Remove it. Now, if I click on the button, okay, how many methods will execute? No methods or all lifecycle methods. How many methods will execute? If I click on this one, yes. My value is like what? Previous also Sachin. Now also what? Sachin only. Previous also Sachin. Now also Sachin. Okay, still all my lifecycle methods executed or not. Get the error state from crop. Okay, and should component update. My render method called. Okay, for what? Sachin. Update with Sachin only. Okay, get snapshot update call and component update call. Sachin update with Sachin. Then the time a virtual DOM will take care. There is no render, nothing will happen. See here. If I refresh my page, did you find anything, any changes in your browser? Nothing. See this, nothing. In my DOM, no changes will never have, no changes happen. Why? Because previous data and my new data both are same. Then the time, okay, my virtual DOM and my current DOM, browser DOM, both are in sync. Then there is no need to touch my original DOM or not. Okay, so all methods will execute, but these methods I don't want to execute. I don't want to execute these methods. So that how I can handle this one. That is the thing. Yes. Okay, here you return like true or not. When you want me to return true, when you want me to render my previous value and my new value, both are like different. Both are like different. Then you should have to make it as like what? True. Okay, both are like Sachin, previous value, new value Sachin, both are like same. Then the time I don't want to render it. So then can you return false? If you return false always, then what happened? If you return false always, if I turn to be Dhoni, okay, if I change this one like Dhoni, then the time will that Dhoni re-rendered again? Okay, see here. Okay, see, I changed this Sachin to Dhoni. Still my Dhoni is not rendered, right? Why? Because you hard coded the value like false here. Okay, it should not be hard code or not. It should not be hard code. So how we can handle this one means very simple thing. My new state and my previous state both are same. Both are same. Return false. Don't render it. Okay, my previous state and my new state both are like different. Then that time return true. That's it. Like this you can write it. Okay, what is that? My new state. Okay, that means you are going to update it to this value. New state dot name is equals to my this dot state dot name. Both are like same. This is my previous state and this is my updated state. It's going to update this value. Okay, both are same. Then what you have to do? Return false. Otherwise, return true. Okay, now see this. Now come here. First time load. If I click on this one, it gives me some error. New state is not defined. Okay. State, right? Now come here. Now see. First time load. If I click on this one, Dhoni. Previous value Sachin. Now it is Dhoni. So that it should have to render. All life cycle methods. So my updation has happened. Really happened. Sachin turned to be Dhoni. Okay, perfect. Now I make this one like Sachin only. Once you click on the button, Sachin only. Now come here. If I refresh my page, Now can anyone guess? My previous state and my updated state, both are like Sachin only. Then so yes, nothing will happen. Great. Is it okay or not? This type of things, if you want me to handle, yes, you can handle it. Is it okay? Okay, why we go for should component update? Okay, okay then. Once my should component update is completed, the next level is what? If it is written true and written false, whatever it is, written false, render method is not called. Written true, then let me go to the render method or not. You know, right? My render method take how many arguments? My render method take how many arguments? 0 arguments or not. Once my render method execution completed, the next one is like what? Come on, get snapshot before update or not. Okay, once my render method application is completed, the next method is like what? Get snapshot before update. Okay, now if you want to execute that method, my state value should change with different value or not. So like Dhoni, then that time it returns true, so that my render method is going to call, and then my get snapshot before update is going to call. Now it's take how many arguments, you know? It's take like 2 arguments only. Then it take like 2 arguments only. Okay, now come here. Get snapshot up before update, which take 2 arguments. What are those arguments? We have to find it. Okay, my question is, can anyone answer this? Should component update method returns me which type of value? Should component update returns me which type of value? Should component update boolean value. Perfect. What is the default value for my should component update? Default value. What is the default value? My default value is true. My default value is like true. If it is not there, it's always executes. If I remove this one, okay. If I remove this one, save it. Okay. Now it's turned to be Sachin only, for example. Okay. My Sachin is turned to be what? Sachin only. Now see this. If I refresh my page, now click on this one. Yes. Okay. It's executed or not. My get snapshot before update, all lifecycle methods executed or not. My Sachin is turned to be Sachin only. Okay, so that what is my default value for the should component update? My default value for the should component update is like always true. Okay, if you want to handle this type of scenarios, just you can override it and write the code like this. Okay, now can I do like Control Z? Control Z. Z keyboard is not working in the keyboard. Okay, perfect. Okay, can we concentrate on get snapshot before update? Okay, can anyone tell about the 3 equal symbols? Okay, this one. What is the difference between double equals and triple equals? Anyone? Double equals to only check for the content. Triple equals is going to check for what? Type and content. Both type and content. Okay, this is the one. 10 equals to 10. Valid or not? 10 equals to 10. Yeah, valid. It's true. But because here also content 10, here also content 10. Okay, but the same statement if you write like this, is it valid or not valid? Not valid. Why? Because my content same, but here my type is like a number, here my type is like what? String. That is the main difference. Okay, most of the times you should have to use like triple equals only, not double equal. Okay, now come here. Now I don't want to make this like Sachin, it's like Dhoni only. Perfect. Now can I refresh the page? Now can I click on this one? Okay, do not put the debugger, that is a problem. When I put the debugger here, go to my source. Okay, should component update is not required. Yes, your debugger is there, but why it's not triggered? Yes, it's triggered or not? No, perfect. First, by seeing this one, you can tell what is my first argument value. What is my first argument value? What is my first argument value? Can anyone? What is my first argument value? Perfect. It's like not state. It's like location Mumbai. Location Mumbai. It's a prop. My first argument is like prop or not prop. Okay. The next argument is what? Next argument. Come on. Next argument is a state. Tell me, you already updated, right? The The state value updated like what? At the time of clicking on the button, you updated the state value like what? Dhoni. Okay, still my state value is like what? Sachin. In this name itself, you can find like what? Get snapshot before update. Before updating the state or prop value, what is my previous values? My previous value is like Sachin or not. See, my updated value is this. My this dot state. What is that? My this dot state of name is like what? Dhoni. It's updated. But before updating Dhoni, what's my previous value? It's like Sachin or not. You can get the previous value. If you have some work with the previous values, yes, you can do that here. Okay. Now come here. Can we give the proper names for this particular arguments? What are those? Can anyone? My previous props, comma, my previous state. Is it valid? Agreed? Okay. Okay then. If you have any work with that, you can do that. At the same time, my get snapshot update is going to execute it. After that, which method is going to execute? Which method is going to execute? My component did update or not. Here itself we can put like a comma, b, comma, 3 arguments is going to take. Okay, what are those? See. Now if I click on this one, yes. Okay, my get snapshot before update executed. And if you come here, say this. My A, what is that? Mumbai. My B, what is that? Sachin. Can anyone tell? Can anyone tell? Which take how many arguments? 3 arguments. My next argument is like what? Null. What is this null? We'll see. 3 arguments is going to take. My first argument is like prop. My second argument is like state. Which state again? Which state this is? Okay, already started to be Dhoni, right? It's like previous state or not. The next one is like what? Null. Next one is like null. Okay, so that can we give the proper names here? Okay, here also you can write like what? Previous state, not state, props, my previous state, comma, some value. Okay, that value null, right? Okay, that value coming from where, you know? Coming from my get snapshot before update. Coming from my get snapshot before update. For example, if you want to pass some data from here to here, okay, you have some work with that. You can pass the value like this. Okay, now I return 10. Now come here. See, one more thing you have to observe. If I click on this one, see my get snapshot before update called. Can anyone see the browser? Or can you check the browser? What you observe? My state value, previous state value is Sachin. Okay, my new value, my this dot state is like what? Dhoni. At the time of get snapshot before update, still my DOM is not rendered or not yet completed. Agreed? Yes or no? My Sachin is like what? Previous state or not? Okay, if you want to get any element references or something, my previous data, all these things, if you want to get, you can get it now. Okay, why? Because still my previous snapshot only there or not? My previous DOM only there or not? Agreed? Yes or no? Now once this updation, okay, once this particular method execution is completed, it go to which level? Component did update. Now once you get this component update, see this, it's turned to be what? It's turned to be what? It's turned to be Dhoni or not? See here, in the past it's like Sachin. When I am in this particular method, okay, once I move to component did update, now it's turned to be Dhoni or not? But that means what? My new updations have happened. It's in the browser. Okay, now here, okay, still if you want the data, yes, you can. Previous props are there, previous date is there. If you want to do some operation, let's do it. See this value. This value is like what? 10. This value coming from where? This value coming from where? Coming from this particular one or not? Coming from this particular get snapshot before update or not? Agreed? How it is going to work? Up here, okay or not? Okay, props we can't. Okay, prop value are not able to change. Prop value, just use it. If you want to change the prop value, what you can do? If you want to do the prop values, what you can do? You are not able to do any changes. If you want to retrieve, if you want to find it, okay, if you want to do some operation on the prop, if you want to change that one, then how you can? You have to tell to your parent only who sent that prop. You have to tell to that guy only. Why? Because my props are like a read only in my component. All props are like read only inside the component. If you want to really change, That means you should have to communicate with that guy who sent that props. You have to communicate with that guy. That guy is going to change it, and again he is going to send it to you. Okay, only retrieving purpose. Just I'm telling props. Okay, done. Okay. Now here the thing is, there are some combinations there. For example, get snapshot before update, you return, but component is not there. Component update is not there. See this. Go to my console. Okay, see here. Get snapshot update should be used with the component did update. Okay, get snapshot before update should be used with what? Component did update. There is some interlink is there. Why? Because this guy is going to give some data to whom? My component update. Component update is not there. Who is going to take this data? So that my get snapshot update you return is nothing but you should have to write what? Component did update or not. Agreed? Yes or no? Okay, but if my component did update is there, get snapshot before update is not there, then there is no problem at all. There is no problem at all. Okay, did you understand? Any questions so far? Okay, the next one. The last one is like component unmounting. Component unmounting. Okay, this is one, right? Okay, so my component will unmount take how many arguments? Can anyone guess? Okay, A comma B comma C. Okay, can I put debugger here? Okay, debugger here. Okay, now come here. Can I refresh my page? Okay, which one that is component unmount life cycle unmounting, right? Okay, open with life cycle. This is the one. If I click on inspect, okay, if I click on this particular one, now see this. Yes, my component will unmount is going to execute with how many arguments? No arguments or not. So you can say like what? My component will unmount take 0 arguments or not. Component will unmount take how many arguments? 0 arguments or not. Perfect. 0 arguments. Okay, done. These are the life cycle methods where exactly we are going to use how many arguments is going to take while calling, how many arguments my React is going to pass while calling the particular methods. Okay. Okay, then I'll upload this one. From where you are going to download? In the past, you downloaded from React tab, right? React tab, right? Okay, that one you can find here. Okay, that one you can find here in the no React.js lifecycle method somewhere. You can find lifecycle methods there. You can see this. Okay, that you can find. Now come here. This is servers. Today's class you can remove it. Now control here. Send it to compressed. Send to compressed. Okay. Today class. Now open this. From JavaScript tab you can download, not from React tab. Okay, downloads, JS tab. Okay, JavaScript tab. Again, I'm telling. From JavaScript tab, you can download your programs and everything. You know words. Today class TODAYCLASS. No, it's not asked. Yeah, 723. So fine. Yeah. Okay, then you can download from here. uijavakit.com, not from the React tab. Just go to JavaScript. From here you can download today's class link. Okay, now onwards. Okay, if you want any notes or something, just go to React.js tab. Okay, I will add some other topics also, few topics. For now, this is enough for you. Okay, this all things we discussed, right? Okay, these are all things we discussed. So life cycle methods we can say all examples you can find here. Okay, okay then. Thanks guys. Thanks for joining.